Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passioned Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, our big farm news this week is that we have a new tractor, which is really, really exciting. For years now, we have been using my pa's old tractor. It's a Leyland. It is not very strong horsepower wise. It takes a little while to get started, sometimes doesn't start, gets overheated once it gets going, and the hydraulics were broken on the back, so you couldn't lift up the slasher off the ground. It just had to keep going along the ground wherever you were. So it wasn't ideal for doing much farm work. So after lots of research and going to tractor dealers, Adam decided on the one we now have, which is big and red and shiny. I don't know the brand, I don't know the model number, but it is big and powerful and is now being kept inside in the shed here, so the other side of this wall, as opposed to the other one that was sort of out in the green shed carport area. So it is very, very special. We had a slasher, which was reasonably new, so we were able to transfer that from the old tractor to the new one. But we also got some other accessories to go with the new one. We have a digger on the front, so like a bucket that opens. And then we also got hay forks and a grader. So some very useful pieces of equipment for using around the farm. So it arrived last Friday, just after I had recorded. So Adam and I spent the morning getting the slasher moved from the old tractor to the new tractor, getting it all connected and figuring out how it all went together, greasing up all the bits and all that kind of thing. And then he went out into the paddocks and he started to do some slashing, which was well overdue. We hadn't been able to get much done with the old one because it kept overheating. So he's now able to get in and get the grass down now before it gets into summer, which is great. So moving forward, it's going to make a huge difference to what we're able to do around the farm. And I haven't driven it yet, but I probably will end up learning so that I can help with things like harrowing or doing a little bit of slashing. But I'll wait until Adam has become more acclimatized to it, and then he can teach me what I need to be able to do to be able to help out around the farm as well. I also have a silly sheep story for you this week. No actual vision of it because, again, I was actually trying to help the silly sheep and not getting my phone out. I actually took a photo just before it happened. So I was in here and I was watching the sheep outside, and both Hurley and Evie had stuck their heads out through the mesh. Now, I'm not actually sure how Evie managed to fit her whole head out. I think it was partly because Hurley had already pushed it out quite fast. It was very tight, the wire. So she was able to kind of push and then pop her head through. So the two of them are sitting, eating grass on the other side. Hurley decides he's done and he pulls his head out and he moves on. Then Evie tries to, and she's stuck. And she struggles for 2 seconds, and then she just stopped, like she'd given up. The world was over. That was it. She was going to be stuck in the fence for the rest of her life. So she just got down on her front haunches and just sat there oh. And so I went over to her and I kind of tried to pull the fence towards me and tighten it and get her to back up, and she's just still sitting there. And then Hurley wasn't concerned at all. He just wandered off to eat grass somewhere else. But Vito came up and he got his front leg and he's tapping at her, trying to get her to move. So then I had to get him out of the way so that I could get her to get up a little bit. So I had to really pull it a long way forward and kind of push her nose back so that she realized that she was actually able to get out. It took a little bit of encouraging. I think if I hadn't have been there, I would have found her hours later, still just in the same spot. So they're really quite silly, and I hope that she doesn't try and do that again when I'm not around. She then went back to hay. She was like, no, grass isn't for me right now. It's been a really busy week. Good busy. but a busy week. So last weekend I was at Romsey for the All About Fibre and Yarn Market, which was a really fabulous day. The weather was good, lots of people around, got to talk about yarn and see projects and inspire people to make new things, lots of new ideas, and everyone just being creative and really lovely. So thank you if you came and said hello. It was great to see you. And it was a really nice day out. So I'm hoping that those events run again next year. They were really fabulous, and I would definitely like to be a part of them again. That was where I debuted my Christmas yarn. After I showed it here on the channel last week, it was live to buy at the market, and it was very popular. I had people coming up saying, "Where's the Christmas yarn? I have to get it." So it sold very well. I only have a few skeins left, which are now online, but they're coming with me this weekend to a Tea Time Yarn Retreat market. So you might need to get in quick before they sell. I have ordered more of the sparkle yarn, and based on feedback from the market, I am also going to do some DK Christmas yarn. So there will be the sparkle on sock yarn, and there'll be the sparkle DK yarn. So that has been ordered and on its way. So as soon as that gets here, I will be re-dyeing the Christmas yarn, and that will be coming with me to October markets. I might put a limited release up on the website, but I will hold most of the stock for markets, and then once October is done, it will then all go online. The scrap packs were also really popular. I have a few left of those as well, and I am going to hold those for markets only. But maybe if I have any left post these next few markets that I'll be doing, I will put them up. But going by how they went, I don't think I'll have any left. The car packing went extremely well this time around, both going to and coming back. I managed to get everything really nice and flat and stable. And I took a lot of stuff, lots of tubs, but I think I took a lot of stuff in like soft packs as well. So I was able to like squish everything in and get a lot more Tetrisy to fill up the spaces. So everything was really flat and stable. And then I did sell quite a lot on the weekend. So thank you again if you bought anything. So I had sort of extra space on the way back. So I was able to consolidate a few things. So there was like actually space in the car. So that was really great. I think I am getting better at the packing. I've also got a few different options for how to pack now. So I think that's worked out really well. I was also really happy with my stall setup. I said last week what I had done was sort of planned out how each individual yarn or section would look, but I kind of hadn't figured out where everything was going to sit within the whole layout of my stall. So as soon as I got to the hall and I knew where my spot was, so I was in between two people, sort of a little ways in from the door, but not too far, I could figure out which way I wanted to have my sign facing, where I wanted to put the Christmas yarn, where I wanted my grid wall racks to display. And it didn't actually take very long to decide how I was going to do it and to get it all laid out. And I was really, really pleased. And putting those yarns into a sort of a semi-rainbow kind of order, I think it made it look really pretty. And I think it was also useful from a customer point of view because you could really easily see the variations in the colors that I had. So if you were after a blue or a green, for example, you could just look at that section and sort of not pick and choose between everything, but really focus on that particular area of the yarn. And yeah, I was really, really happy with my display. So the beginning of this week was unpacking and reorganizing and doing a bit of a stock take and ordering more yarn to dye. And I'm back into dyeing already. So I've worked out which colors I need to restock. Some I may not this time around. I'll just see how I go in terms of my timelines. But I am re-dyeing colors that have sold out. And I've also decided to dye a few summer-inspired colorways that I haven't dyed in a really, really long time. So this week I have done Island Life and Poolside Cocktails. So I thought it would be nice, bright pops of colour as we sort of move from spring into summer and that warmer weather, to have some of those sort of fun, bright colours to contrast against some of the pastels and flower colours that I have. So I've got those drying now. So I'll be doing dye, dry and label, dye, dry and label on repeat, probably through until the end of October. Then I'll probably stop dyeing for the summer, unless I just feel like I want to do some little bits and pieces or big orders come through, because I will be going on holidays, and because I'm here on tank water, I do have to think a little bit more strategically about when I dye. So if it does get quite dry, which it says the weather forecasters are saying that it will, I will need to preserve water so that I can do the dyeing that I have to do, and not like waste water on producing colorways that might sit for a while. So I'm going to have to be quite strategic about how I plan out my dye schedule once we hit the drier part of the year. I do have some more markets coming up. This weekend I'll be attending a Tea Time Yarn Retreat Market. It's been a little while since I've been to one of these, so I'm really looking forward to catching up with everyone and having a little bit of a downtime in Creswick after that and around it. Maybe get a little bit of private knitting time done, which would be quite nice. So I will be packing and getting ready for that. So I've literally just unpacked and now I'm going to repack and go again. My next open to the public market is on the 6th of October at the Pascoe Vale Spinners and Weavers 50th birthday celebrations. I will put the address and details below so you can find out, and there'll also be a link to my website markets and events list so you can find the details there. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll have to figure out a new table setup again. I'm only going to have one table space. So I'll have to sort of compact everything down. I did spread myself out quite a bit at Romsey and had lots of like spare space, like just table space, which was actually really nice. But I won't have that there. So it'll just be a single table. I'll probably take at least one of my racks and compact it down. So there will be some playing around with setups before that. I am waiting to hear on another couple of markets. So as soon as I'm able to let you know where I'll be, I will be definitely telling you here and also putting it onto my events schedule. So as you've heard, I have been really busy this week. So I actually haven't done a whole stack of knitting, just little bits, really mindless stuff mostly, because I've just been quite tired, to be honest. So I did, though, finish my Ophelia hat. I think I called it Ophelia last week. It's called Ophelia. It's a colorwork hat, and I made it out of Mill Post yarn and a light blue yarn that I bought from Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show ages ago, and I don't know the brand. But here it is here, all finished, ends woven in. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Does need to be blocked. There's the floats on the inside, so I think I've done a really nice job with the color work, nice and even. So to block it, which I won't do, I can't do yet, because I need to buy myself a bag of balloons so that I can properly block my hat. So I don't know if you've heard this before, but the best way to block beanies is to blow up a balloon to the size of your head inside the beanie and then sit it that way, and it'll dry nicely to the shape. You won't have a fold anywhere, and it'll stretch out those stitches and even everything up. So I will have to remember to buy myself some balloons so that I can get this block. I knit a few dishcloths for our kitchen. I hadn't realized that all of the ones that we had been using for our coffee machine had all ripped and died and had gone in the bin. So I knit a couple of those this week. So that was really nice, mindless knitting that I could just do in the evening, just to sort of keep the hands moving and get a little bit of knitting in for the day. So they were corner to corner dishcloths using the grandmother's favorite pattern, which is really, really simple and free on Ravelry. So I did two of those, and I'll probably do a couple more in this next week or so as well, just because we do need to get a few more so that we have a supply back again in the house, because we do use them all the time. I also made negative progress on the two at a time socks that I was working on last week. Last night I was looking at them and I decided that they looked a bit odd. So I pulled them out completely and I've started again. So I said, I'm knitting these for a friend, and she does have longer and wider feet than me, but I think I made them a little too wide. It looked kind of weird. So I'd only cast on 12 stitches at the toe, and then I'd increased out a lot, and the proportions looked really off. So I decided that I don't actually think they needed to be that wide. So I ripped them all the way out and recast them on. I've gone back and started with 12 again, and I'm only going to make them slightly wider than my foot. I got a little carried away and made them quite a bit wider. But if I only make them a couple of stitches wider than my foot, I think that I'll still be able to use my foot template and the proportions will still look right. If I was to make them any wider, I probably should start with like 14 or 16 stitches at the toe so that the depth of the toe looked right. It just was looking really, really odd. So what I have now is just the really toe tips, and I am still in the increases. I just wound it back and I'm just tensioning it quite tight to get rid of the crinkles. It won't be a problem. And I don't mind because I always have socks on the needles anyway. So it's actually not really the project or the finished object with these. It's just having them on the needles to actually do. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.